Final session of an Ibero-American summit, so why the tempest flare? Ayman Moyedin has been taking a look.
It was an exchange hardly fit for heads of state. Spanish King Juan Carlos berating Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. The fiery outburst happened during closing comments of the Ibero-American summit in Chile. Throughout his speech, President Chavez repeatedly called former Spanish Prime Minister José María Aznar a fascist. That labeling drew criticism from the current Spanish Prime Minister, who specifically addressed Chavez in his own comments.
I believe there is an essence and principles in the dialogue, and that is that to respect and to be respected, we must try not to disregard others. We can disagree, totally disagree, with someone's ideas or behavior without insulting them.
But when Chavez, whose microphone was switched off, tried to repeatedly interrupt, Spanish King Juan Carlos yelled, "Why don't you shut up?" Chavez replied saying he did not offend by telling the truth and that the Venezuelan government has the right to respond to any aggression. It's hardly the first time the controversial Venezuelan leader has been involved in diplomatic spats. At a UN General Assembly session last year, Chavez called U.S. President George Bush the devil. He has repeatedly angered Western powers by labeling them imperialists and closely allying his country with Cuban leader Fidel Castro. And even neighboring countries that don't share his socialist-leaning policies have been the targets of his criticism. The heated exchange overshadowed a three-day summit that saw leaders from 19 states push forward landmark agreements on poverty, terrorism, and regional cooperation. But the public lambasting Chavez received in Chile may seem a distant memory when he returns home to Venezuela, where he faces mounting pressure and protests over plans to extend his powers and his term in office.